Today also, I'm going to talk about the wreckages or the economical and political challenges, or rather leadership crisis that Africa faces generally, the role of Africa. To deeply talk about this is going to involve a whole lot of time because it's a book that I am going to write. It will be co-authored by a fellow economist like me, but we are not ready yet. That book will be written, it will take years to be written, but we will write an insightful role everyone played in holding Africa underdeveloped. We will talk about, because you can't talk about it without talking about the role the white man or the Westerners or the Europeans played. And then you can't also talk about it fully without talking about the role our fellow Africans played. Today, I announce myself to the world, and I come with the truth, and the truth alone I will always say. Now, why are Africans enslaved? Why are Africans suffering? Why is there political crisis, leadership issues all over Africa? Two factors. These other factors may have sub factors, but it comes from two perspectives: religious falsehood and indoctrination. And it also comes from bad political structures and leadership system in Africa. Now, these two things play major roles apart and synergically with each other in holding the black man down. The gods are wiser, and the truth I will continue saying. Now, where do I come from? If a religion comes to tell you you should hate yourself and hate the things you did in the past and most of the greatness you achieved, see, if nobody tells you that science originated from Africa or the Africans played their role in science and technology and development, then they lie to you. Africans were producing clothes before the white man came. Africans were building houses for themselves. Even though the black man's house may not look as beautiful as the white man's house, but it served the same purpose for protection, and it's a place of living. Africans were not living in the cave before the white man came. So we had a lot of work of art. Our work of art are all filtered in Western world in their museums and filtered in America. They stole our work of art. If they were doing a better work of art than us, why did they come to steal our own? Now they came to make us hate ourselves, and then they lied to us and they buckled our brain. Now and they've put us in total confusion. Religion. Now what do I mean? What they did was that during the Berlin conference of 19, I can't recall the actual date, they shared Africa and butchered Africa into sections for their leadership benefits so that they can control Africa like a small marketplace. They took it as a slave yard for servicing the labor market in the whole world. They did Africa shaking, but they are still lying about it and they are yet to table apology. How can these same people who did this also bring religion to us and bring Allah Akbar and Islam to us and tell us that Islam can save Africa? Meanwhile, Islam was used as a tool of conquer and division. They used Islam to enter Africa through the eastern region, and they conquered Egypt, and they conquered most countries of Africa, and they divided us, and they imposed and forced Islam on us. Take Nigeria as a case study. The Fulanis, who are foreigners to Africa, they came and they conquered the traditional and the aboriginal owners of Hausa land and imposed their stooges as religious leaders. And they held Hausa people slaves for more than 200 years. And they gave them a religion that they told them was superior to their cultural way of life. And now African and the Hausa people have been held bondage for years. They cannot deliver themselves, both mentally, physically, economically, politically. They are slaves to the Fulanis. They are only united by religion. But in actual sense, they are divided beyond unity. Religion. This same religion they brought to the Southeast region and told the Southeast people that this same religion said that when they brought it to the Southeast people or Western people, the Christian religion, And this same religion said, I have come not to bring peace, but I bring war. And that I shall turn a father against the son, and I shall turn a son against the father. What does that mean? It means that it does not bring a unilateral or unity in worship. And when there is division in the home, the people are broken. And people who are broken cannot be united. And people who are not united cannot have a greater future. So we are weak. Because a brother now works with another brother and you don't trust your brother. A brother, this is a Christian, this is a traditional man, this is an African nominal man, this is an Islam, and you want them to live together. How can they be united? How can they achieve a certain purpose when they don't trust themselves? Africa was played game. See, these people invested so much money in bringing missionaries to recolonize Africa and restructure our mental reasoning. Why did they not bring engineers? Why did they not build schools? Schools, what do I mean? Schools that could actually produce productivity. Not just schools that makes us cram and then hold police positions as what's it called, director of this, manager of this, operation this, whatever, but not as producers of economic activities. Their school was meant to hold African man down. Their school was uttered. The school they brought to us is a falsehood school. That is why I'm a first class graduate, and there are first class graduates that cannot actually defend the course they studied, because what they did was they just studied that course from the surface. Education is supposed to teach you how to be better in solving problems, societal problems. But the graduates we have in Nigeria, both the PhD holders, are they solving societal problems? They are causing societal problems, because you notice that these products are educated, but then they are not well fine-tuned. They can't produce machines, they can't produce equipment, they can't produce, they are inefficient in everything, but they only just hold positions and work. That's why they structure you to be workers, laborers. That is why an engineering student in Nigeria cannot know how to mine natural resources. He needs the white man to come and still mine the white natural resources. But you don't study geology. The education was lie. And they gave it to the missionaries to make sure that it is the missionaries who brought the Enlightenment program. So that when they brought our people in the structured system, while they are educating us, they were infusing religion and the history of the white man to our brain. So that when we are stuck with it from childhood, the brain bondage, the chain can never be broken. We will continue being slaves to the educational system that was supposed to enlighten and save us. We are victims. I hope you understand what I'm saying. We are victims. So look at my children who are 5 years, 3 years, and 2 years. They're already teaching them about Jesus of Nazareth. But they don't know my village history. They don't know about my grandfather. They don't know about my land. But they know about the white man to be his savior. So when you start teaching this small pikin this thing for in the next 20 years, you think he will not carry gun to kill anybody who tells him otherwise that no white man died for you. The educational system, they make sure they formed our curricula. They are not supposed to form our curriculum for learning. We are supposed to form our own curriculum for learning that is indigenous to solving African problems, because every society has their own unique problem, and it is the educational system in that region that solves the particular problem that is unique to that region. If the problem with Africa is mining our resources or forming a good leadership framework, we find an educational system that produces refined people that can help us to mine our natural resources, that can help us to dig boreholes, that can help us to provide clothes and housing. Why is it that after studying these things, we import both cement that we build with, we import the clothes we wear, we import the shoe we wear, both the hair we wear on our head, we import. So what is the essence and benefit of the educational systems that we've been taught for more than 100 years? It is not solution finding educational system. They played on us, and this helps to produce bad leaders produce inconsequential and weak people that does not find solution to problems in the society. And then when the leaders come, they enact laws that are anti-people. And then you will see a graduate who has a BSc or a first class, some that has masters, and you want to start up in salary, and you're starting up in salary with 100,000 or 120,000 or 70,000. After many rigorous years of this Western education, does this not promote corruption? How will these individuals survive without involving their hands in dirty things in the offices? Because they are not well paid. If you pay them very well, then we will have a saner society where people will hold their hands. Look at how much our police paid, how much our military recruits paid. What is their life insurances? That is why they dance to the tune and to the bill and to the command of the politicians. The system is rigged and structured against us. I hope I'm talking. Okay, now, what are other factors that has influenced where we are today? We need to start holding our leaders responsible for every decision making and everything they do in our communities and in our lives. We need to cut them out from the external power supply from the West, from America. Let the bane of their strength don't be determined by outsiders, but by we, so that we can tell them we are tired of it. Go and sit down, we are not doing it right. But our elections are manipulated and controlled. What is, do Nigerians go to America to go and influence or produce a public conference to say American election was rightly done? Why must European Union come to determine or say the final verdict of how our elections were done and all of that, so that it can be to the bidding of the Western world, so that they can also always produce leaders who will steal our natural resources, who will steal our God-blessed gift and return it back to them. Africans are slaves. See how we are migrating because we are running. But we need to come back and sit down and hold these leaders responsible to fix Africa. It goes beyond religious affiliation. It goes beyond tribal affiliation. It is beyond personal survival. It is universal survival of the black man in unity. That's why they don't want us to be united. That is why there is a lot of boundaries in Africa, but there is no boundary in Europe. If you hold one citizenship to Ireland, you can travel to almost part of Europe. But if I hold citizenship to Nigeria, I can't travel to all part of Africa, because they don't want us to come together to unite heads, to put resources together, to share regions. We've been demarcated and separated. You see an Uhuru man, or you see a tribal man from Malawi. Some part of his country is in Ethiopia. Another part of his country is in Malawi. They've been broken, no unity. Africans, when will you wake up? Africans, when will you reason beyond tribal and religious affiliations to say, let us find the solution? See what is happening in Nigeria. See bad leadership in Nigeria. What is aiding it? Religion is aiding it. Your religious leaders are game players. Look at what Kumuyi said. Kumuyi said, God will give Buhari the solution to solve Nigerians' problem. Did Buhari solve Nigerians' problem? So it means that God is not speaking through Kumuyi. God, he told, what's his name, Adeboye of the Redeem, that Naira will be crushed to equal to 1 Naira. That though they use weapons, they use their engineering for that, but we use a supernatural God power. Where is Nigeria today? Where is dollar to Nigeria today? The same Kumuyi who has been sleeping and dining with Tinubu dynasty for more than 30-something years, eating money, collecting bribes, promoting pastors from Redeem, and placing them in political spheres of Nigeria. The same Adeboye cannot open his mouth to say that there is evil in the land. He came out and protested against Jonathan when fuel was around 85 Naira, be 82 Naira, and carried Nigeria must be better and whatever. But when his criminal cronies came into power through the APC and Buhari, he prayed for them. Until today, they raised fuel to from 85 naira to 1,000 plus in the name of inflation. Who caused the inflation? Bad leadership. They forced Jonathan out, and you are boldly still going to Adeboye's church to go and do what exactly? Someone who has given you directions that have failed you. Someone who ate with Jesus and be God in the same table and drank tea, but he cannot find the solution to Nigerian problems. Africans, when will you leave your church? Every day they continue telling you it is miracle cantata. What God cannot do does not exist. That this year they give you another time frame. Next year they give you another time frame. They tell you to continue fasting for 100 years, fasting for 360 days. But yet, no solution. Run away from them. They are the ones that are holding you mental captive. They are part of the system. So that you can be strong enough and united in brotherhood, let us challenge the bad people that are leading us. Because they are products of Christianity. The bad leaders are also products of Islam. When you tell them, "Oga, behave the way your Islam is teaching now," they will not stick to it. When you tell them, behave the way Christianity teaches to take care of the welfare of the betterment of the people you lead, they only answer Christians when they want to go and collect titles in the church, or when they give billions for churches to be built. Do you know they spend a lot of money in the church? Do you know government spends money? Do you know government builds churches? And most of your religious leaders are on the payrolls of government and politicians, so that they continue holding you down. That is the game. The missionaries that were sent, they were the original ones that came and opened school for us. Do you know how much the Western world pumps into missionaries in Africa to provide you whatever rubbish they pretend to provide? They are the ones that control your school system. Until recently, government took it from them. They don't allow you to read African history, so that you don't read about slavery and the roles they play, but they will teach you Islamic book, and they will teach you CRK, so that you know more about this, without knowing history of what your people have suffered in the past. The educational system is one of the tools that the white man and our bad leaders are using, and religious institutions. Africans, let us stop coming to rant 30 days ranting. I bought this, I bought this is how it used to be before. Let us know the taproot of the problem and face it from the ground. That is the only way we can have our mental chains removed, because they were taking us as slaves, pinning our mouths, suffering us, chaining us, putting us under the worst conditions that human beings should not be as slaves. And when slave ended, because Africans resisted and fought, and when it was abolished, they chained us again back to our brain, and they started giving us rubbish history about how white man died for us and conquered the world and did this. Africa, you have been conquered. The black man, reason and wake up. Let us set standards and policies that can guide our land. Let us set good government systems, good government that can help us to thrive, so that we can enjoy our natural resources for ourselves. And we can only get it when we get people who are mentally stable, men who are strong and morally strong, because all of the system hates corruption. And when we are all corrupt and weak, who will stand up to demand for justice? Very few persons. Africa, know the role educational system and religion played in bringing us where we are today, in breaking us. Africans, stand like this tree. Show them. Raise the camera to the up, let them see it. Stand like a tree that goes to the sky. Stand like a strong tree. Bring it down. Stand like a strong tree that never died. Stand like a masquerade that is not afraid of time. Go and read history. Go and research the problem and solutions, for it lies in our hand and it is within us. Thank you very much.